Pedrola, can you pass that to
Rinpoche, we've been reciting the dedication prayer that you requested we recite, and I was wondering if you could give a brief commentary on what it means. Thank you.
I asked for that, huh? The other line, except saying the four, the reason, then other than that, you could understand quite well, right? So through the this investigation of reasoning, the four reasoning, chawa 당보디 가리나 chawa cheberigo. 춘이 그거라는 가르치 남주.
Do you know the translation of the four reasons in English?
춘이 그리고.
Rinpoche
예.
No, that. Jason, do you have internet? Do you have internet? Can I have your computer on second? Yeah. Rinpoche 찍죠 이러라.
너무.
찍죠 나라 Rinpoche 찍잖아.
Yes.
It's okay, Jason.
네, 뭐지 요요 다지. Rinpoche. 여기한테는 하나 Rinpoche 좀 뭐야. 오늘 저는 Rinpoche에 사이가 되는 게 좋아.
Huh? No.
Oh, they do.
Duela.
They do. The engine. The four kinds of. 네. 민도아.
Rinpoche 세샤가.
Dude. The first one, I think it's called the reasoning as it is just a nature. What does that mean actually? I think when we talk about fire, why the fire is so hot, this has this element of the burning. That is the reason. It's did it away. No. Nature of things. So why does the water just fall down? It's a nature of things. That is the example of the fourth. And third is established by reason. So that's what we are trying to learn. Why the sound is impermanent. Then we need to bring lots of reasons. Why all the phenomena are the emptiness. So then we debate on that. So that is the so I'm coming from the number 4 and then now number 3. And number 2 is functionality. Chawa chebe ribas. Chawa chebe ribas edi. Damju chawa chebe ribas di jumzen karuko yudo dia. Oh. 또 균제기 어디래? 여기는 좀 전에 개개 보시고도 배진 chawa cheba sidu gyule teni dribu chungbi gyumsing tonen roya geje jikshe wondu sambe pechen del chawa cheba riba sikyu.
The kind of reasoning that relies on recognizing causality. So if a certain effect exists, it's because there was a cause that performed that function. So identifying the functions of things and recognizing the causality between things.
제가 땡중 남겨 rakpada 타모닉 단에 rakbe 공도 체. 다 참여 공도 체야 돼 dependencies.
So this, when you talk of dependent origination, there's a subtler one and a grosser one. So this functionality is probably within the grosser level of dependent origination. And then the subtler one is the fourth kind of reasoning, which is the reasoning of dependency.
Why this four reasoning becomes so important? As we say, there is a position. The position is saying, whatever I just learned now, and this is the position that we are holding, and saying, and day and night, I'm going to use all this four reasoning, and then 지다 퇴배 전화로 니나천도 수신 라단 삼제내로 삼례 중에 남제로의 태송 처벌서. So in order to take out the doubt. May this discernment zero all doubts. So unless taking out the doubt, so then how much you are saying I'm confident, I feel that my faith is so pure. But then, time to time, why we cannot stay on this position? Everything because we have the doubts every time. So if you can take the doubt out, and then we are quite strong. Maybe sometimes we might not have a good reason, but still you are kind of stubborn and not listening, but in a good way. Not because of I don't like your idea, because you really wanted to see some reason in that person, what the person really is telling you. Okay. So that's what His Holiness repeatedly said in his teachings. So that I felt like this is something we need to keep in our mind time to time. So that's why I request you to do it. Okay, next one. No more doubts?
Rinpoche, very much gratitude for your teachings here. Last Wednesday, you had mentioned that the whole goal of us studying logic and debate was for the sole purpose of to deepen our understanding, as well as strengthen our own stance on a view. Mm-hmm. So like in retreat environments, this is so easy. But then when you go outside in the external world, in this very quickly changing world, how do you hold on to these stances and views? An example would be like purchasing a mobile phone. Mm-hmm. I would never say that I would have purchased this, but I feel like there's a lot of pressure to purchase this. So how do you hold on to these views when you leave the Dharma environments or the retreat environments?
So first of all, my opinion, my thinking would be As my teacher mentioned, that we need to really understand what is Dharma, and then the why I should study Dharma, practice Dharma. Once you have it, and then if you could have this kind of a strong kind of a commitment, and that through this kind of influence, you should do whatever you are doing. So, like you purchase a mobile phone or car, you get married, there's nothing wrong there actually. So, but the problem is when you learn something, saying I'm practicing Dharma, and then on the cushion you have taken a refuge, and then you are feeling like I shouldn't be doing this and that. But then outside of cushion, you feel like I need to do it. And then we see this contradiction. But it is not I'm saying, if you really know, if you can hold to the main thing, and then you think, I'm doing this for that reason, not for this reason. Normally I'm doing for this reason. Now Dharma is given me this purpose. My purpose of doing this is for all this. So from outside, people might see, he's kind of the same guy. But maybe not, because you are doing in different way of thinking. So if somebody next door neighbor of the Marpa, maybe they will see like he's going to do some field works, going vacation to India, and then beating his student, something that, only that. But it's something completely kind of opposite. But the action remains same. But the attitude is different. That's what we need. So I think in the 7 points of mind training by Geshe Chagawa, in there he says, I don't know how to say that, the dinalola, the kasa, dumba gyurla rangsor shak sechi. Dumba gyur, dumba, simki dumba gyurba. Dumba pa gyur che, ane rangsor shaks. Rangsor shaks, namsha yundu choba karare to shedi gune, di rangja shaks. Dumba pa gyurs.
So, change your aspiration, but then your behavior can remain the same. So even though you might be doing things that appear to be the same, your wish or your aspirations are different inside.
But we know just a little bit of, when we feel the taste of Dharma a bit, and then we try to act more. There's more exaggeration, right? More exaggeration. But then the taste vanishes, and then you don't have anything. Only just left with just kind of a little bit of, I don't know,
Behavior.
Just behavior. Conduct way.
Mannerisms.
The manner.
Mannerism.
You do is like wearing the robes or doing some, but the deep inside, nothing much there. So that's a huge problem. So then I always tell my friends, somebody asks that I wanted to become a monk, nun, and to take this vow. And I say, hold on. And I give myself as an example. Because look at me, I've been a monk before. Then I didn't continue with that. So you shouldn't be doing the same thing. So in order to do that, you should learn something from me, my way of thinking, your way of thinking. And then once you think, no matter what happens, I really wanted to become a monk. And then I still can keep the vows very pure. This confidence come, then you do it. So that's something very important what you asked today, because also in the Dharma, what we've been studying about the big things, Uma, the middle way. So it always talks about this during the meditative equipoise. It needs to have a strong the kind of the influence on the post meditation. Because seeing the things as like a space, and due to having this strong realization, and then on the post meditation you see all the phenomena as a illusion like. So but that Bodhisattva, that great being, will be doing all the activities what we've been doing. Maybe he's out there in an Apple store buying an expensive iPhone. But then, but not with the clinging. But we are there out with the clinging. So huge differences. Okay, the next one, please. Japan, take a pen as an example.
Kunzu ta chö den sum nyugu ta chome gerisha ineko ta madru la yendu kharela ta madru la gore kyabu ma jula yendu kharela kyabu ma jula khashi dile yan than truth ta madru la na khawala ta madru la goto kyabu ma jula yendu chojin kiyung do khati tat kyabu ma jula na chojin chudo yo mares ta madru la yendu chitan cheni ko ta yanda imi ke jin bache choshi den du ta du yo mares o khashi la ta langsang koran jusha khashi thanu koran tes Malene Ladesh.
Okay. Yep.
So last week, Gen Gyurme told us that the first step on the Buddhist practice is ethics. Now, can debate help us avoid the 10 destructive actions, 10 non-virtuous actions, and if so, how is debate helpful in that?
Sudim di tachimures. Sudim
kazan dishi kensa di gomba dam ko tsudim la pe ore so tang tsudim to so mi ge chupung gi tsudim la kon le rilam jae di mi ge chupung gi tsudim poya jan dolen che la pento chi la me
alele. Da nyelya sudim kasan somada shin sudim kechimbu re song yin du zambe sudim kechimbu yinbi gyumzen shi gorda. So diji Quran chila da Quran dil.
Before you say it's important, or before one says it is important, you have to have a reason why it's important. Like you should know why.
What will be your answer?
I think that keeping ethics is the basic level of happiness. If one does not do the 10 virtuous actions, if one does the 10 non-virtuous actions, it's hard to have inner peace.
That's true. So one good example would be person who really wanted to make a good figure, good figure, so body exercise and make muscular. Right? So then that person not eating French fries is not a problem, much problem there. because his main focus on, if I like French fries very much, but in order to keep this body to maintain this, all the effort I have been doing, I'm not going to eat this. So it looks like we can debate it. The junk food is very tasty, but for the person who sees the goal, that which really harms my practice, my maintenance of my body, that is not difficult for that person. Okay? Similarly, first thing we need to keep on in our mind, if we don't keep the ethical contacts well, what will that harm? If you don't have that answer, and then saying we need to keep our ethical contact and we need to take a vow, and then it does not have much effectiveness. And then it's similar like we going to the gym, for few days we go because our friends are going, and then slowly, because you go back to your habit that you like to eat very much, and then you will eat whatever you want. So it's more like you have lost the focus there. So now debating, maybe Adisha will help me with that. Chezangla, manju rilam jangni churim suwala pentawursan kadu mebche. Ta chik samladang bayina, manju ki gyudan kin mangpo tsoba tela teni 중해야 지레스 깨지 시에 온도 잠배 아니 아란주기 규를 깨게 천주 셈다 동력이 따와다 대다 탐지디 아주 다가서 장바 잠시 미지기 전에 년바 잠시 깨투를 베스나 디깨투 말이 규den게 뭐고 초발 되는 기들이 있으나 내서 줄을 주셔 초바 참 신디나로라 규직들에디 긴직니 지금 말이 긴 도마 초발 되는 게우리에서 디네 신지지 또 줄래도.
So even if debate is not directly relevant, maybe it doesn't seem like it's directly relevant in establishing the utility of ethics, indirectly, if you think about it in terms of if that is your goal, then what is it that you need to get to your result? It's not enough that you have an individual in single cause, and so since you need a collection of causes and conditions, within those conditions you'll need to generate a mind of bodhicitta, you need to understand emptiness, you need to practice ethics, etc., etc., etc. Much like to have a sprout, it's not enough if you have just a seed, you need a whole host of conditions that support it. So in that sense, if you think about the relevance of ethics in attaining your goal, then it becomes relevant.
I think it always comes in my mind, maybe correct or not, but like a great Adisha, when so learned, but then still when he hears the name of the great Lama Silingpa, and then he feels like without his teaching, without his lineage, I definitely cannot generate my bodhicitta. So that's why I think he put all the efforts there and then traveled to Indonesia at that kind of time, difficult time. So Adisha, the great Adisha, because the logic and reason is there, with this and these conditions are not there, it is not going to grow. This kind of conviction, I think Adisha got that. Okay, so I hope I have answered the question.
Rinpoche, how can, if we find out that debate is a lot more effective than a lot of other practices, how can we keep from feeling disheartened with doing our commitments and doing other practices?
Ale Riglam Jangje.
Riglam Jane, Riglam ki Thoar Kha,
Ale.
Riglam Ke Chembutong, Ni Shamba Nami Gulen Che de Gisoso, Shendo Nando Samala Ing Maladura.
Oh, that's what we're saying. We have lost our track. That's dangerous, actually. We have many examples that even he could debate very well. He can defeat anyone in this room, but still he's left out with this the
Essence of Dharma.
The essence of the Dharma is missing because he forgot to debate with himself. So with the we will teach here time to time how to debate, and then it is your responsibility that debate how you are going to debate with yourself. So like I have shared some of the text by Benjamin Lobsang Chögying, I think. His how he debates with his self-grasping and self-cherishing. So this is how we should keep in our mind. So then, of course, this way of debating has to make you much stronger to bring practice. So otherwise, it will become the same as like most of you went to the school and college, and then you have learned so many unnecessary things. Still, maybe you are not remembering anything, and which is not much relevant in those what you are doing at the moment. It shouldn't become like that. So we have. I will share you one story. In Dribung, there's one Gishila who is not that kind of outside. It's not that kind of. He's learned it, but he will always tease the monks. So the elderly monk will always tease the young monks going into the debate courtyard. He was saying, "Oh, are you going there to water the concrete?" He will always say that. So that sends a huge message, actually. So this debate system, what we are learning, my teacher, the day one when he started, he has given this advice that if we think about on the Wednesday, he mentioned that on Wednesday. So that a person doing a practice without understanding logics and reasons, and a person understands the logic and reason and doing practice, what are the differences? So then he asked you a question. Many of we are like that, saying, but for him it's not any question. He's like, he knows what is Dharma. he explains how to bring our focus. So that's the I think we need to, while debating, then you come to the one point saying, this is it. And then I think it is going to do the trick. And for that, we need to learn so many, sound like unnecessary, but it's necessary. Or that this debate system, musumushi. How do you say musumushi?
3 possibilities, 4 possibilities.
Three possibilities, 4 possibilities. Gewa is contradicted. And chambachi marwa. Musum tenji inclusive, mutually inclusive. And then through all this debate, and then one day you could say, these are the possibilities. And now there's no other possibilities than that. So this is it. Sometimes it is important to think out of the box. Sometimes it is very important to think in the box. I think so. Okay.
Rinpoche, could you say a little bit more about how we would debate with ourselves?
Generally, do we debate with ourselves? Do we? Yes or no? We do. We do. Because that's why the Rinpoche, Lama Tsongkhapa, in the 3 principles, in the part of stages, very clearly said, the anger, why we have a very strong anger, it comes with so much information. We have collected so many information, and then it becomes so kind of a so heaped, and then you would say enough is enough. It comes out. Because this is something I think you have brainwashed yourself with the reasoning. You should be angry because he said something that, he did that. He really hates you, that's why he's saying this. And now you really need to, I really need to do that. So that's why if you meet a person who really says, why you should take a defeat, you should fight back, then you feel like he's on my side. And if somebody comes and say, don't do something stupid, take this kind of defeat, but there is a victory, you will never like that person. It's decided already that what you really wanted to hear. So, for that reason, but the reason that we need to find normally what we are reasoning ourselves, not very strong. That's why great Shantideva in the 6th chapter, he said, if you are angry, where are you angry at? That's the biggest question. And then he just go like, maybe you should be angry at the stick, because stick is the direct thing that it, if you're saying you're hurt, your body pain, then its direct contact is not the enemy, it's the stick. Maybe you have to angry at the stick. And maybe slowly to his arm. But you don't say that. But then you already grasp to something, you feel like this is enemy. So not if we sit down, but if we just listen to our negative emotions, because it's out of the emotion and not much using the brain, the intelligence, then we make many stupid decisions. So that is the reason one great teaching of my teacher has given is, one day I went to him and said, I have this strong attachment problem. So how can I try to bring that down? So then my teacher said, he made this syllogism. He put this syllogism, and Chagyu yi pime chuji. Chagyu yi pime chuji. Karsa Chagyu yi pime chuji. Rang Chagyu yi pime de chuji. Mede semi imbe. Mede rangshin yu jube pime imbe shiris. Tisongwe na. Ndugo horbe ti dugde. Chagyu di jube pime de chuji. Chagyu di jube pime de chuji. Mede rangshin yu jube pime imbe shiris. Tadi di inya karakor de gosena maranzu choje modumi. Choje modubi tone. Choje ndugo koro yo mares. Jazang chaksa korang shi koro me dus tanyana.
The syllogism was take the woman of my, which is an object of my attachment. It follows it doesn't exist because it is an inherently established woman. That's the syllogism. And the purpose of the syllogism was to show that there is no object, there is no woman that is the object of attachment.
So, Chayugi Pime Korang Dido Chayugi Pime maybe chiris. Lavo do Zambe Ani Shine Kot Tobioja delia, Semna Lola. Ya May Tanji Shuji Yosedi Korangi Nag Samutang Dang, Suisha Jumado, Koran Sawan in the Digio Maris Lavi. Shine Semna Lola, Samre Hand Hoyachi, that Semna Suzu Gamushuachi.
So when then I thought about it, and the woman that was the object of my attachment, I suddenly realized wasn't there or didn't exist. At the same time, there was also a strange feeling of slight like wonderment or surprise, while at the same time feeling that what I was attached to was never really there. And so that's how that worked.
Mm-hmm. So like that, I think one of my teacher would, again Yazula, would always say, whenever you try to meditate on something, as like us, we are beginners, so we need to bring lots of reasons, and then at the end, and once you come to the position, this is it, not other than that. Then somehow this meditation becomes so strong. And one time also, Adisha and me asked my teacher how important it is to debate at my house in McLeod. And there he said one story that he went to Orissa, his birthplace. And then there, some of the Tibetans asked him to give some teaching. And those Tibetans, they do puja, recitations. They are kind of known as a good practitioners. And then when my teacher asked the same question like he asked to you all, then they have no answer actually. What is the Dharma? And then, because they cannot give any reason, they are just looking to each other, any reason. That is very clear that they haven't given any thoughts by any reasons. Doesn't mean necessarily it is
Correct reason. Correct reason.
a correct reason or not, but they haven't reasoned anything. So it is clear that they haven't reasoned anything, which is very sad. So he clearly said that to them. You are thinking that you are doing practice, you are meditating, you are doing this reciting, you are doing all this accumulating lots of merit. You feel that. But then when I ask you this question, you don't have an answer, whether it's correct or not. So somehow you need to answer that. So like you start questioning. That questioning is kind of trying to get the answer, isn't it? There are so many other people, they don't ask this sort of question. But still they are going through this kind of a way of tradition. Traditions and this tradition, following the traditional, which is quite dangerous. Sometimes then they don't feel reason is not needed actually. Okay.
On that basis, with the debate, since I've been learning debate, I feel like I fall out of believing, like in my the conceptual reality, of Buddhas and gods and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I wonder what's going to happen to my mind, because then I'm not dependent on them. But then I question if they existed or non-exist.
Mm-hmm.
So even on the teachings, so sometimes I wonder.
You repeat I think first, I think it's not a very big or something very important to feel whether there is a God, there is a Buddha or something. Most important to find Dharma, to practice Dharma, is not to find Buddha actually, to find the God. But the most important thing, I think, how we need to research is through, as Chandrakirti clearly said, how to investigate, how one practitioner should investigate is the yogi, how once investigated. So how the yogis investigated is because they always try to bring the suffering which is manifest, that these are the something I really don't want it anymore in my life, in my lifetime. So that kind of suffering, it will always come again and again because there will be the cause and the conditions. Now, I will put all the effort to seize this kind of the condition and the cause. Then through that yogi has found the emptiness. That yogi has found bodhicitta. That yogi has found Buddha. This is how we need to find it. So like Buddha himself clearly said in the Diamond Cutting Sutra, how to find Buddha. So he said, first through the investigation. Whatever we think, this is a Buddha, this is a Buddha, this is Buddha, we need to bring this down actually. And then slowly you will find, so because of that, now I can see the Buddha. So I'm not going very into the Madhyamika now, because right now we are on staying with the logic and reason, so we need to stick with that. So the investigation. So the Buddha himself clearly said, how you find, you will never find. Now how I have found myself, you need to investigate through that. So then it really, the reason why he's saying is not to find to find Buddha is very important, not that reason. In order to bring the antidote for your own suffering, that becomes so important. So then I think there, in order to bring all the suffering or this, more you feel so strongly to the contract, and then more you want to do that, and then how much you need to put effort, whatever necessarily you would do it. Because like saying, even you don't have a money, and then you have this kind of disease, and then which is life-threatening, and then even you don't have money, you will say, even it costs, so how much I will try to get this antidote. That's powerful. So similarly, we have to find through this kind of investigation, and I think we will find Buddha and the conventional, and then ultimate, no problem. Okay.
We've been introduced to cause, substantial cause, and conditioned, cooperative conditions. So my understanding is very limited, but is there a way to, how do you find the substantial causes of things, for example, in the Lam Rim, the different realizations we're meant to acquire, how do you figure out what the substantial causes are of those are? Does that make sense?
Substantial cause This is good. So, so now, as you've been debating on a permanence and impermanence, right? Kind of? Do you? Just a little bit. Okay. 제정가 딜람나 야고메로 아니 pena nyelendang tenji chi yin de geje shi ri de ani zang zo 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 on de zhe ani midaba ya bu cha ko wala tam midaba samlo dang yin de ke chim bu res midaba samlo dang ya la ke chim bu cha ye nen가 치쇼지 가르쳐 도서나 디기 nyelen son ro de la ta gwe gi nam sha ji ya wo ji ma xian bi na ani midaba ga zu xie bi ne ma zu xie ma tu chi 제가 딱배기 내당데 들으셔서 좀 딱배 가수시기 딜레 딱고 시고 디앙 딱고 시고 세도 까원도 좀 엔텔레테네 메다고 세고 시토에 지원도 좀 고 메다고 신예기 유기 조우들라 딱고 내당지하고 까도야지 내려온도 좀 배야 메다고 고면로 고 수펜 토야지 이런
if you want to understand what impermanent is, or you want to meditate on impermanence because it's considered important, unless you have a clear understanding of what permanent is and what it entails and all of the things that happen as a result of something being permanent, you can't get progressively more certain or more sure or more refined in your understanding of impermanence. Whereas if you understand gradually what permanence is, what it means, what it necessitates, what it entails, and you refute all of those possibilities, your understanding of impermanence becomes progressively closer to what actually impermanence means, and then you come to actually know what impermanent is. So to have a good understanding of impermanent, for example, you have to have an idea of what at least permanent means before you can do that.
Then we talk about in the beginning, we talk about guru devotion. And then when we talk about taking a refuge in a guru, many people we have this strong difficulty. So sometimes we say Lamrim is maybe because not for beginners. Could say that because start with such a complicated subject. But anyway, the guru devotion, when we talk about it, normally we need to think when we take a refuge, when we always study that actually, saying taking refuge is not only taking refuge in the causal refuge, but at every time when take a refuge in a causal refuge, but then we have to always remember, bring the awareness of resulted refuge. So if these two does not go together, then we are forgetting the substantial cause of yourself. So taking a refuge in a guru, if we say you have taken His Holiness Dalai Lama as your guru, what kind of change happened in you? That you really need to answer that. So many of us, we say we take His Holiness Dalai Lama as a guru, but then it becomes very difficult to answer what kind of change happened deep inside there. So that I think it goes with to ask what is the substantial cause, and then what the nyelen siedi anjo kasar anjo di chabeji na yorba nyelen siedi ani 오 봐 주비 차니를 봐. 오 주비 차베니 년ens. 아니 저 제비 차니 엔린지 체인스. 들어죠.
Generally, the other way that you speak of substantial cause, which was also in the text, is that it is the thing that becomes something else. And cooperative conditions are what assist in something becoming something else.
So taking a refuge in Dalai Lama and Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, what the substantial cause, you have to see the change from the day one and to now, some changes there. And there's not much change of thinking there, and then there's something wrong. So that's why we need to stay, debate a lot. Somehow it is changing, but there's no effectiveness. The change is there, of course, not the kind of change what we are looking for. Okay.
Can you say more about causal refuge and results refuge?
Causal refuge is something that refuge which somebody has already generated. Generated. The resulted refuge is something which is related to yourself, which that you wanted to become like that. So it's more like it's a very good one, because it's always saying that is the reason that we have two names. One layperson's name, and one we say Dharma name. So Dharma name is something I think always we need to remember of this resulted refuge. So that really brings something like when you are going through some kind of problem and you're how to interact with this problem is an ordinary way of thinking. Somehow you feel like now this is me as a lay person thinking. Now this maybe you have a Dharma name. So through this kind of a pride, you look into this. So I'm also this one, so I shouldn't be thinking like that. So then it is something to do with the resulted refuge. That's why I think in a Tantra it talks about very strongly. Also we need to have this on a sutra level or in an ordinary life. We need to have this. So in a family member, person who takes a huge responsibility, if you have your own personal thing, but this in a family you are most important, you should be thinking like, compared to my family's problem, my problem is small. And I need to think about my family. That always happens, isn't it? And that's why we should have a president. We have a prime minister. That's the idea, I think. So it's, I think, a very special kind of pride. Okay. Yes.
Rinpoche, in our text, sound is divided into pleasant. One of the divisions of sound is pleasant sound and unpleasant sound.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Atisha posited to us the question whether rock music, rock and roll music, is techno music. Techno music is pleasant sound or unpleasant sound, and I don't know how to resolve it. Could you give me a clue from the Sautrantika point of view? How can one try and tackle this?
Techno. Tadi nyemba yimbata ma nyemba yimbata. Alele shidundiri. Alele. Ta da nyemba re ma nyemba res. Kurang ma nyemba yinsi nyidirbe.
Do you like it? Do you think it's pleasant? person.
No.
Call it Minyambar.
Kira?
Minyambar. Ina Kashila Nyambadu.
Kashi Nyambadu.
Anastasia, you like techno music? No, Anastasia, did you like techno music? Who said they like techno
Oh,
music?
yeah.
No, no, did you like?
Okay. Okay. I really don't know what you guys are talking about. That's all.
Was it techno music?
Okay, jump that, but did rock summer be?
I did rock techno music, electronic music.
Electronic.
Electronic kitchen shoes.
Ale.
Damn the thing.
Oh.
The long one would give the.
Oh. Ale le. Oh. Tadi nyembada minimba nigi shiduris wala khars kore.
Mangetsu betsu ba nyemi nyenam yonazu. Jagi yavaş agırlar. Music o gelvay ta gelvay imata.
Ale le.
Yomana da shidu yorucu. Techno music içeceğiz.
Ale le.
Samara ringboard tum.
Dire chamare. Ta dodebi look shisha chen len japan chen ko sigor ba. Okay. 다 도디비게 남주 녀바다 마녀비 시도 예 드르트 계속 말봐.
Kaşı şuna cemal.
왜 말봐?
Hagomas.
다 지금 뜻을 던진 거 차니 시에고를 세야 되다 시에기지를 비저봐. 디마도 렌접서라고 말봐다. 세상가 베네 뮤직 지원지 고정부리 통으로 슬라베네. 녀르지 버려다. 정부를 세도 잠베네 통으로 코란지 정부지 통구요나. 정부도 쓰지. 아니 되네지를 떼질 때는 통으로 슬랍쇼그래. 비전디다 베나 녀마 많이 버스도 잠베 테크노 코란디 녀바를 많이 버슬람나. 다 베네 지금 원래 캐치. 아니 디 녀바를 많이 버스 쉐르마도 신고 자외기 탑산하는 요요가 발레디 신부를 신부 말에서 서로 치러. 코스 다 산이 시그레스 라고로. 아니 니에서도 선배 어디 신부도스는 신부도스샤. 거기 신부면도스는 신부면도샤체. 이제 나는 심세대 레지가는 로야 말이다.
So like anything, like long and short or tall and short, anything is the same. Even the Sautantrikas probably would have to posit it in relation to someone or something. Because asking if the bread in the kitchen is tasty or not, even a Sautantrika would probably say, I'll eat it and let you know. And then when they eat it, some will say it is, some will say it's not. So even these kind of things, probably from a Sautantrika perspective as well, you have to speak of it in relation to who is engaging in it, possibly.
And that we have to bring the German bread again.
What's wrong with this, if one was to say this?
Because it's not clear to me how one would, if I would challenge and debate, like take techno music, it follows it is a pleasant sound. What would be the answer then? Except or why?
고랑게 네 담제 책임서 봐.
Are you putting yourself in the position of a defendant or the challenger?
As a challenger.
If you were to ask someone, take techno, it follows it is pleasant. And what position are you in? Are you being asked this question or are you asking this question?
I am asking this question.
So
posing
take
this
techno
question to
music, it follows it is pleasant sound, and then you're trying to find a reason to justify that it is pleasant sound, or are you trying to wonder whether you should say why or accept?
This is the issue that I find with Rinpoche's answer.
No, but first,
Yeah.
how the issue can be dealt with as a defendant or as a challenger. So do you want to know as a challenger what reasons you can give to prove that it is pleasant or unpleasant, or as a defendant are you trying to figure out what response to give to the question, take techno, it follows it is pleasant sound?
So the issue, I originally came about to think about the issue as a defendant, like what answer can I give? But since Rinpoche has asked me what is unclear about his answer, then I challenge the answer as a challenger.
Yeah, but so where are you stuck? At what point are you stuck?
It's not.
If you are now the challenger, you are making a syllogism, right? So what are you doing as a challenger, and where are you stuck in as a challenger?
I'm stuck in that if I were to ask as a defender, is it pleasant or unpleasant? I wouldn't have the ability to answer, well, it is pleasant to some and unpleasant to some. I would have to give a clear-cut answer, accept or why.
So you're stuck as a defendant?
As a defendant.
Okay.
Yes.
Ani techno chuchen ranya ba imba thar remoche ki sona ani ko do labgo yo do
ale ku di haku mu dus
di haku mes
ale le oi di na nyor che me jodro ne ku nyor che me jodro ne.
But it's not difficult for you, no, because you don't like it.
No, you are not going to say it is pleasant, unpleasant. You are just saying like, okay, this sound could be pleasant, unpleasant. So there's no debate.
Ma khogi de labgo yo na chichi labgo yo na kisi len takkar ne len chi gyab go chuna
Quran shende me do soro
ma shendo yore sa
kari yore
ta kho shing me sa de labgo yo na me labgo yo ana khoj mi chi khola kar yo na
ha
ani khod de la de len gyab go yo na chichi labgo yo na
ale de ke ko len jam dila yabore dujare se lab shing me do soro ta amsha yundong ajo tamja di yana da chöjin takore midabore sekiri shesayo marbata da chöjin takore sla는 da chöjin sin takwa ina ani didi ba tas tas tangwa da chezanga dil tanda tase dil pejin kurang dil pejin nielo chu 당고에 손으로 좀 믿어요.
ko chu tan de
chu 당에 손으로 지 얘기 담자 체제 techno nyemburis 라바이나 엉코에 따서 당시 techno nyem부 많이 봐다 텔레 미님비 차주여비치 요아다디 돌로 텐텐주여비치 chu 당고냐 소리죠.
So generally the debate, if you take a position and let's say you hold a position that you don't like it, you are someone who doesn't like it, you say it's not pleasant, then you have to give yourself a reason why it is. Because it has a pleasant aspect, because someone likes it, something like that you do, right? That's how we would proceed.
답변은 techno 고랑 nyembure nyembo 마르슬람나 얘기 렌접도서 말디.
Even Rinpoche wouldn't be able to answer if you ask the same question. Take techno, it follows it is pleasant. Rinpoche saying even Rinpoche wouldn't be able to answer.
He would just?
Even Rinpoche wouldn't be able to answer this question. Mine.
That's much easier. See. So now you need to debate with him. There is a position, right?
No?
techno manyemba raslawroda. Tata manyemba ina ani kira manyemba gyumjendi manyingi tab nyembu medini meji ge chowaji yebe chane chowa tundu islamna ani deche jenya nyembu yimba ta ani dele denche nyembu cholkenji yebe chesin ta se daga danyarwa.
So if someone held the position that it was unpleasant sound, then you would debate and say, is it unpleasant because you feel it is unpleasant and your perception of it is valid? If that is your reason, then take sound, techno, it follows it is pleasant because there is someone who perceives it as pleasant and that is a valid mind. That's the kind of debate that would come out of a debate, of a position like this, right?
So then Adisha is in a difficult position. So he says like, it's not a good pleasant sound. Then there is other people who says techno is so good, it's my favorite. I can give my life for that. Yes, of course, right? Take me as an example. I go to Italy, I proudly say I don't like pizza. So I'm in a difficult position. But they cannot take my right. But however they try to I went to Napoli, the best, the origin of the pizza. I went there, eat this place. Still, I didn't. I hold to my position. Yeah. So because it's more like to the taste. If you say the shape, then I can say I like the shape. The shape that Napoli one is not that good, but anyway, other pizzas could be good. Yeah. So then now that the chevi na pena the Koran tastam bi narwa ani the adisha len karjung rwa but the dine the kanjo kejemason tachu.
So you'd have to see what Atisha says and then you'd have to decide what you want to do.
So now you make sure that the karsatango the chujen del this okay I learned chujen kasan karsa kasa mare chidane chujen subject is techno. It's not a question about his understanding of techno, his experience of techno. So now the subject is techno. So now debate is whether techno is the pleasant or not. So now Adisha will say, they will say techno is not good, not a pleasant sound because of through his experience. So this is such a nice debate because mostly people, if you ask a question, how is Italy? There will be two persons. Oh, Italy is not so good. So some people say it's wonderful. So everything they will try to answer from their own understanding. Their
Position.
From their position.
Perspective.
Perspective, through their perspective. And this is how, if somebody is asking a question, any kind of question, mostly they will answer like that. And that's actually the debate starts. So which is very interesting. So first thing that we ask a question and we get satisfied. Because if somebody is researching Buddha Dharma and then they wanted to go to the one teacher who gives a good teaching, and they will try to find out advice of his friends. And then his friend says it's so good. So he does not do any investigation of why I should believe my friend. I need to do my own investigation. So this question is always left off. So like you ask Adisha, is techno pleasant sound or not? He says no. And then you will say, techno is not a good one. So all the debate starts now. But then it is difficult to say whether there's good or bad. Right? Sounds like, from my own way of thinking, if I don't like that person, I would say he's not a good person. But then there is other person who is so close to him and he sees him as a very good person. That person will say he's a good person. And they both are talking about that person's quality, the good and bad one. And then how do you define he's good and bad? So this is, I think, a very interesting debate. So you need to debate with him, because
Following this subject about, is it to say that our view influence our stance? Now my doubt is, okay, then in a debate, my stance will influence my perception of reality. So in the debate, how do I know that I go in the right direction, that my view is not biased? How do I go directly to the right, what I'm trying to say is how not to turn around and I go to the truth.
The this subject deal ya ngosu tana azu joba kal dewa chagi yune mene kandar jan tindregi shiga jile sabi shugula ane chigi yagoda duja dan kandre chini chig dosu tunjung goni shagore se kumshi di yago chabi na maransh gyula namsha jondo kanyin cheya di kumshi di mezan chebres kumshi di mebi chena duja la tajidu duja dan yago la tajidu yago se ondo zambi tele tene azu chaso nyongo jedang de azu da azu semen rupti gyores da kandar dindregi samlo de azu adapt yangse chetu batel tene rangshingi azu semna lola desu tunjung thoni shagu ri se samlo de la khundri jing jarong so bi shugo de la ani shine lung chi langidune lung de malang ko ne ani geje de ya research chendo da samlo tang de gi nebadi shuchimbu thungu yusres.
So with the example over here, this one in question, which is something pleasant or unpleasant or good or bad, if you get used to debating or thinking about it like this, then the more you go about analyzing it and the more you familiarize yourself with this kind of reasoning, at some point you end up finding out that it is necessarily from the perspective of somebody or something, or in relation to something or in relation to something else, that you have to posit whatever it is that you are thinking about or positing. And the advantage of that is when you have something which is, right now currently you see something which is good or bad, you don't consider it from it being good or bad from the perspective of anyone or in relation to anything or anyone, and you feel it's just single-pointedly, entirely, independently like that. And then it's clear that from that kind of perception, then you have attachment and aversion that arise very naturally. Whereas the more you get familiar with this, the less you see that fixation on things being in a certain way, without any relation, without any relative aspect, that starts to loosen. And so then there's that benefit that you get by following this reasoning again and again.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. You're still here today? Okay.
Samuel. Oh, Samuel?
Who's leaving?
Shmuel. Khodreirish.
Anna, where are you going? You need to stay. Okay, you can walk from here. Just kidding. Okay, okay. Okay, let's continue. Amje ye ngwa kanlang shodo ngawan de dashin gewe zawan di gun jang sambo che che rabdo ngawan ye